it's interesting that a lot of girls are really fascinated with this stuff.
And it definitely is.
It's because women are not socially trained to use their brain. They're actually more
If you say
likely to use
vagina,
their
they're
emotions.
trained to use their vagina. Genius, we got it. Oh my god.
Why are
No,
people
no, they're more
Okay,
connected to their
shh,
emotions,
quiet.
which is where true
Radcen, quiet.
wisdom.
Quiet. Look, why are you spitballing with unsubstantiated
Tyler
claims?
would agree.
What are you doing right now?
Oh no, the trolls are turning on each other.
I'm not a troll, first of all, and second of all,
False.
if you can't
This
Whoa.
conversation is evidence.
I'm not opposed to your point of view, Pogan. So how would I substantiate those claims?
Can you put your claim on the table so we can work through it instead of you just firing from the hip
Yeah,
like
yeah,
some
yeah.
sort of six-shooter?
Yes. Well, women are more likely, or less likely, I should say, to be like intellectual, to have like
To
an
use their
intellectual
brains. Yeah,
mindset.
yeah, yeah.
So when you say intellectual, do you mean hold positions in academia?
No, I mean just the state of mind of being intellectual,
Being a
just
smart
relying
boy.
on
That just,
relying on.
Radcen, that just seems completely unfalsifiable, right? Because anytime I say, well, here's some evidence of women being more intellectual than men in X field, you're just going to say, oh, well, that's not what I meant when I said intellectual. You're going to constantly shift the goalposts.
Yes,
So
but
it's like
does
a completely-
falsifiability necessarily imply that it cannot be true?
I don't think I said that. I just pointed out that it was completely, it was a complete waste of time to even question you on this.
Radcen
So
is
why
like
are you questioning me?
Radcen is in seventh
You can
grade.
mute your mic and go back to
Do you think
where
I'm
you
still
were, Pogan.
okay, idiot?
You are
Pogan is
dismissed.
getting hold.
Okay,
Pogan
but-
is just getting
Ooh.
fooled.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Peanut Gallery.
No
Pointing out
problem,
that
faggot.
there's no okay, you're muted. Pointing out that there's no reason to engage you is not the same as questioning you. I can point out there's no
Triggering
reason to
Pogan is
engage.
Right,
FOI.
but by your own admission, Pogan, there's no reason to engage me, so why do you continue?
Because I need to point out that there's no reason to engage you before I stop engaging you.
Okay, thank you. You are dismissed. Anyway, Chum, I think it has something to do with women being more in tune with their emotions.
What does? Wait, what has more?
Yeah. Okay. No,
Hold on.
What he's saying is because women are more in tune with their emotions, they have a better connection to the spiritual arts or some bullshit. But that's just. Wait a second, Chum. Did you mute Silent?
Mod
Yeah.
abuse.
Why?
He was laughing over conversation.
Yeah, Silent has a bad
That's
habit of
great.
interjecting.
Pogan, you're a fucking faggot cunt. Who cares?
Yeah,
Yes, I can
exactly.
hear you breathing.
Let me just local mute Silent real quick. Silent has a bad habit
Pogan
of
is the
in a
easiest
conversation
person to
between
trigger
two
in the
people where
universe.
Silent is not even
No.
involved, interjecting,
Don't.
trying to insert himself,
Pogan is
presumably in order to gain
hilariously
social
triggered.
currency. So Silent can
one.
just be dismissed and completely ignored.
Number one, don't local mute anyone. Number two, don't talk over Silent.
Yeah, I don't listen to you. You don't have authority over
Just
me.
mute him then.
Oh shit. I love Pogan. Pogan's the best. God
If
dang
you
it.
do overtalk Silent, I will mute you.
Pogan has the stamina of like
Let me just
a
put him
two-
on
like,
1%.
I guarantee you, he's just gonna continue to do that. Pogan.
Pogan has a point.
Pogan is just such a quick shot. He just has no stamina in any conversation. He starts getting hold and he just wants out immediately. He can't stay for.
I mean, these insults are just sad. I mean, it's the same
So now
repeated
that-
garbage
so now-
over
Oh,
and
we got
over
Yuri
again.
here. Great.
Yeah, thanks, Yuri. So now that
It's like
Silent is
8
finished
memers
speaking,
at the same time.
Radcen, I'm going to re-engage you because I think it's worth my time now. So I think there was something interesting that you said about 2 minutes ago when you said women are more in tune with their emotions. Now, presumably what you mean when you say that is that women are less logical and a greater portion of their intellectual functioning, I guess, is dedicated to exploring their emotions. So I'm just wondering what sort of evidence you have to substantiate that claim, if any.
No, he just means they have cunts.
Go ahead, Radcen. Unless your server muted.
I highly doubt he's server muted.
Okay, well, Radcen's silence can be interpreted as him not having evidence for his claim.
Or he walked away from the computer and doesn't want to engage
Yeah,
with the faggot.
I only
Pogan.
heard the last little bit. Oh,
Sure.
sorry.
So I decided to re-engage you, and I was asking if you had any evidence for the claim that women are more in tune with their emotions, because I interpret that to mean that women are less logical than men and more emotional in most circumstances. Is that what you meant?
Yes. Now, let me ask you a question before I.
No.
Does
I
that
asked you for
conform
evidence.
to your experience of men and women relatively?
So I directly asked you to put some evidence on the table for your claim, and you're now asking me a question. Do you have evidence or do you not have evidence?
I'm more interested in like a friendly discussion rather than like trying to be chained down and prodded and poked as if I'm being, on the surgical table.
I don't understand what any of this has to do with you not substantiating.
Because
your
if we're
claim.
going to be like honest, right, and open,
do you think
and
I'm
it's going to
being
be a friendly
dishonest?
discussion, we can exchange our experiences.
Do you think I'm being dishonest?
Well, I think your reluctance to answer my question is a red
Do you
flag.
understand that I'm refusing to answer a question after I asked you to put evidence on the table for a claim? And you asked me a question
Just a
in
moment.
response to that?
Pogan
Right, you
getting
generally don't respond to
consistently
questions
old.
with other questions. That's considered bad form.
Pogan's still getting hold. Embarrassing.
I mean, to be honest, when I brought this up initially, I just wanted to shoot the breeze with Radcen. I wasn't interested in interrogation.
Well, it's a good thing you're not the arbiter of every conversation ever now, isn't it?
Can we get a immediate ban on Pogan for being annoying?
So, Radcen, do you have that evidence?
What do you consider evidence?
I don't necessarily have any strict criteria. I'm more interested in you substantiating
What about
the claim.
experience?
Thanks for interrupting me. I'm more interested in you substantiating the claim at this point, and then once you put some evidence on the table, we can go through whether or not it's valid. So, what's your evidence?
So the last thing he said was, "What about experience?" And then the thing before that, he said, he's asking you what your lived experience about your opinion.
So, if the evidence for your claim is just anecdotal experience, then I'm not going to interpret that to be substantiation of your claim. Like, if you're just going to say,
What do you
at
mean?
my workplace, women are more emotional, right? I have no reason to believe that your claim is true.
Well, he's asking. So, you have an opinion of
You don't want to do this.
what?
I know what you're trying to do. It's not welcome. I'm waiting for some evidence. If he just has anecdotes, then there's no point in
I'm
continuing.
sorry, Pogan. I was speaking with somebody, but we won't be interrupted.
Sure. So, do you have evidence, or is it just anecdotes?
Right. So I take it when you mean evidence, you are thinking of something like perhaps something that was published in perhaps a peer-reviewed journal or just a news article, right? Something objective that we could both access.
So, the question I asked you was if your evidence was just anecdotes. Is that the case?
Define anecdote.
A personal experience.
Yeah, Radcen, now you're just being dishonest.
Yeah, you're just trolling.
Yeah, you know it.
No. So what I'm trying to get at is that, yes, the experience that I've had, not just observing people, but observing, how societies act on people, right? For example, would you ask me for evidence that the idea that pink is for girls and blue is for boys, would you ask me for evidence if I forwarded that claim?
So, Radcen, what you're doing now, instead of answering my direct question, is bringing up things that are totally irrelevant, right?
But it's not relevant.
I'm going to repeat my question. Do you have evidence beyond anecdote? If you do not, I'm not interested in engaging you further. And I've already defined what an anecdote is for you, so you can't use the excuse of not understanding what I'm saying.
Your definition was a singular experience, right? So you would probably
Are you trolling right now?
also take a set of experiences to also be anecdotal.
Okay, this guy's trolling.
Yeah.
Why do people always use the troll card when they?
Because you're refusing to answer direct questions, and you clearly don't have anything other than anecdotes to support your claim. So, by
Yeah,
continuing
I
to ask completely.
refuse.
Thanks for
I
interrupting me.
refuse to
Thanks
take
for interrupting me.
your
Thanks for interrupting me.
gotcha style
Thanks for
question.
interrupting me.
The way you frame it.
Thanks for
I think
interrupting me.
Pogan is triggered.
Look, if you don't have anything other than anecdotes, right, you can just say, all I have are anecdotal
Do you
experience.
realize that
You're interrupting me again.
the plural
You're
of
interrupting me
statistic?
again. You're interrupting
Or,
me again.
sorry.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. If all you have are anecdotes, right, you'd have to come to terms with the fact that I already told you I don't consider anecdotes to substantiate your claim.
What if I had statistics?
I'm not finished speaking. I already defined what an anecdote was for you, and you can't expect me to believe that you don't know what a fucking anecdote is, but I defined it for you. And so now that you know what it is, and now that you've demonstrated you don't have anything other than anecdotes, right, there's no point in trying to see if you can substantiate your claim, because you clearly can't.
Pogan is
Which
better
means
than
you
you.
might as well
much,
just be
much
shitting
better than
stuff
you.
out into the room and expecting
So
people to buy
basically,
it.
everything you've been saying is just grandstanding because there's no point of this discussion, right?
No, I've exposed that you don't have evidence for your claim beyond anecdotal experiences, and I've exposed that you're deliberately trolling because you can't answer the questions that I'm asking you.
Exposed.
I mean, it's fine, right? This
I
community.
mean, you're just being like an
You're interrupting
ultra
me.
skeptic.
You're
Well,
interrupting me
listen, Pogan, when you make these
You're
long, drawn-out pauses,
If you
right,
continue to interrupt
and you're not
me, I'm going
saying
to lower your
anything,
volume.
and there is a
Okay, you're lower.
natural
Look, you don't get
break
to
in the
talk over me just
conversation.
because I take a
It's
one-second
not
pause
talking
to
over
breathe, right?
Triggered.
Yes,
Pogan,
Sam.
you stopped talking. It was fair for him to engage. Just so you
Sam,
know.
no. I'll let him know when I'm done speaking, right?
No, that's not how this works. What the
That is
fuck?
how it works with everybody else, especially people like Jack Angstrike. You're just being a cunt for the sake of being a
May
cunt
I
'cause you know
appeal
you
to
can
the
get away
room?
with it with me.
May
So
I
I'm going
appeal
to
to the
finish what
room
I'm saying,
to,
and then Radcen can
to
respond,
establish
right?
whether or not
Look,
I am likely
Radcen,
to
we've
overtalk
already
Oh,
exposed that
no,
you
most
know
discussions.
what an anecdote is. You don't have anything other than anecdotal experiences.
Now he's just
And you have no other
filibustering.
evidence to
He's just
substantiate your claim.
restating his claim, right? He's
So,
just
repeating
do you
himself.
have evidence that
He's
substantiates your
grandstanding.
claim
That's
that isn't anecdotal, or are you going to reject
Sam,
the
can
claim?
we stop Pogan from just fucking filibustering over Radcen
Let
constantly?
me repeat my question, Radcen.
Oh
Do you
my
have
God.
evidence other than anecdotal experiences?
Okay, Pogan, I just muted you, right?
I reject your assumption that anecdotes are in any way
Hold
less
on.
valid.
Stop. Fuck, he deafened. But yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna let Pogan get away with that. He repeated that same question multiple times. It's obviously Radcen's turn to respond.
Radcen, you should just start saying asked and answer to this garbage.
Yeah. Well, he's deafened now.
Is he like the new John?
I don't know what his deal is.
Depends what you mean by new John.
Just this aggressive interlocutor who doesn't really. Well, I shouldn't.
He's far less intelligent than John. And he's significantly more annoying.
Well, I do take it to heart whenever someone criticizes my form, so I really don't feel like I overtalk people.
Please don't take what Pogan says seriously.